Hi, good evening. My name is Catherine Wong, and I'm your Child Science 8 teacher for this year. So, if you need to contact me, the best way to find me is through email, and you can find me at catherine.wong@epsv.ca. I'm a teacher at Vernon Barford, clearly. A little bit about me, I actually was a high school student at Harry Ainley, so I grew up really close to the community in the area as well. And then I went to the University of Alberta, and I completed my Bachelor of Science with a specialization in biochemistry. So I did a lot of research in terms of DNA, proteins, etc. And then afterwards, I looked into things that I enjoyed in terms of volunteering, coaching, and work. And I decided to try my hand at an after degree in education. And so I went back to do the 2 year program to get my bachelor's of education. And when I did my student teaching, I found I really loved it, luckily. And so one of my student teaching was actually at Vernon Barford. So I was actually Mrs. May's student teacher almost a decade ago at this point. So yeah, that's how I ended up back at Vernon Barford. Before I was at Vernon Barford, I was actually teaching at Center High campus. And so it's a high school for Edmonton Public. I taught a bunch of math and science courses, mostly science, as well as a couple ESL math and science courses as well. Um, so I'm really familiar with the entire science stream for junior high and high school, as well as teaching a bit of chemistry as well. In terms of classroom expectations, my main expectation is just for students to be in class every day on time and excited to learn, and to be respectful of everyone in the classroom. So far, the class looks great, and everybody has been amazing at this. Some tips for success for Science 8 is really to participate. Um, it's just better to be an active learner. So if students are more participatory, they're just going to remember and learn better. For science, always wondering, it's really more about questions and answers a lot of times. So being inquisitive and trying to design experiments, review. I find a lot of students at this age are still kind of studying by reading their notes. And so this year we're going to be spending quite a bit of time in terms of study habits. What are some study skills in terms of not just reading our notes and how to be a bit more active? One way is making your own summary, and the other one is self-quizzing, right? So those are some tips that I would say for Science 8, as well as, of course, organization, time management, things that our grade 8 students are still working and improving on all the time. Our topics that we're going to cover this year, they're a little bit out of order, but our 5 units are cells and systems, mechanical systems, mix and flow of matter, light and optical systems, and freshwater and saltwater systems. So we're actually starting the year off with freshwater and saltwater systems. That's one of our biology units. And then we're going to get through the rest as well. So cells and systems is also a biology unit. This one's really fun. We're going to be doing an eye dissection as well this year. And so, yeah. And then mechanical systems is our physics unit. And so we work a lot with simple machines. This is quite a fun unit because there's a lot of hands-on labs. And so we're going to be working with pulleys, levers, etc. Mix of flow and matter is our chemistry unit. And so once again, a lot of hands-on activities while we're discovering things like buoyancy, density, viscosity, and how heat and temperature affect all of the above. And then light and optical systems, quite a bit of work with angles, so refraction, reflection, and then different technologies such as telescopes. Our assessment at Vernon Barford is always on the 4-point scale. And so a 4 and a 3.5 is your high A, low A, and then so on and so on. So proficient, a 3 and a 2.5 is our high B, low B. We'll be taking a look at how students do throughout the year. And so it would be including their science exams, their projects. It could even involve just their conversations in class, homework. And so everything that we see from the students is used in order to create their grade for the year. And so students are encouraged to improve as they go. And if they have tests that they need to come back and redo, they should be chatting with us as well. One thing is LEAP. So LEAP for science will be on Wednesday from 3 to 3:30. So if students are asked to stay for LEAP, they are expected to let their parents know and attend. For LEAP for science, their teacher might be myself, or it might be another science teacher that teaches that grade. And so depending on the week, some weeks I'll be running a Science 8 session, some weeks I'll be running a Science 9 session. And so if students need help, there will be other teachers for Science 8 that week as well. But yeah. And then in terms of our Google Classroom, most of our information will be found here. So first of all is our Google website, so VB Science. And so if I come up to Science 8, if you just click the top, you can actually find these are all the textbook links and our course outline as well. And so this is a really good resource to use if you hover over Science 8 and then come down to a specific unit. They will be able to get their notes as well. So these are the slide decks that we use in class. And so if they're ever missing any information, they can come back and fill it in. And then also, if I come to classwork, oh, sorry. So if I come to classwork over here, there's our calendar. And so our calendar over here, you can see daily what we did in class. And then some days it'll tell you to bring Chromebooks. It'll tell you when there's certain days off, as well as future tests, right? So it's good to keep an eye on this. So FS1 quiz, 2.3 and 2.4 quiz, and then our first unit exam coming up. So I try and keep our calendar populated with need to know dates. So students are encouraged to regularly check their calendar as well. Other than that, our Google Classroom has printouts for parents as well, but I find it's not really as useful. So I would encourage you to just sign in with your child if you need to see what they're doing on Google Classroom. Once we start doing assignments on Google Classroom, sometimes there will be grades for their individual assignments as well. You just get a lot better data when you're on the student account. So once again, it's better to just sign on as your child's account than to sign on from the parent view. If you have any questions at all, once again, my email is catherine.wong@epsb.ca. I look forward to teaching your child this year. So far, they've been wonderful. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to teaching them throughout the year. Have a good one. Bye.